This year's award for Best Driving Game was a hotly contested battle between some of the toughest contenders the genre has ever seen. We saw much-loved rally franchises return to their roots, master-crafted simulations stepping up their game, and even one that forced you to race through the heart of a constantly occurring natural disaster. But just like any race, when the checkered flag drops, only one can rise above the rest.
The nominees for Best Driving Game are Dirt 3, Forza Motorsport 4, Mario Kart 7, F1 2011, MotorStorm Apocalypse, and the winner is Dirt 3.
Dirt 3 is it's one of those racing games that subscribes to the idea that racing games should be the type of racing game that you want them to be.
They kind of wanted to be all things to all forms of off-road racing. And Dirt 3 was kind of realizing maybe we've gone a little bit too broad, so let's get back to where we started with, to what the fans this year's really love, which is rally racing.
Everywhere you go throughout that whole racing experience is super fun. Not only does it do that, it also does different racing disciplines exceptionally well, most notably the new Gymkhana stuff, which I was skeptical about when I first heard about all this Ken Block Gymkhana stuff. Like, oh, cool, so you're like driving through a parking lot and doing donuts? Okay.
Anybody who is a petrol head, has seen this guy by the name of Ken Block do this crazy stuff in parking lots and airfields of just spinning his car in tiny boxes of barriers and doing donuts around cranes and crazy drifts through buildings and airplane hangars and all this crazy stuff. I wasn't sure how this stuff was going to translate to gameplay at first, and what they did was kind of brilliant because they applied it to this kind of Tony Hawk style trick system where you get points for doing these tricks, but if you do too much of the same trick too often, you get less and less points for it. And it's all this sense of using momentum and stringing these tricks together and building up combos that makes the series feel completely fresh and new, but it ties all the skill set back to the initial skills you already know of how to drive these cars and how to drift and how to do these spins.
And it actually incentivizes it really well with the layout of these tracks and the weird, ridiculous goals that they have in the Gymkhana tracks.
It's really kind of a testament to all forms of rally racing, with the historical cars from the 60s and 70s, the controversial Group B cars, which tells the great story of technology that was just way too fast for the safety equipment of the time, to the modern rally cars of today, your Mitsubishi Evos and your Ford Fiestas, and these classic environments of like rain and mud and gravel roads and back roads off in the middle of Africa and in Michigan.
It's just a terrific racing game. We cry.